Today's question is from Vishal, and Vishal says, I've just launched a fashion brand in India and I'm struggling to set up the brand identity and the brand visuals. How do I go about doing it? How can Indian companies or Indian businesses create brand identities that are international in scope and standard? Okay, Vishal, branding an Indian startup or Indian business is not really different from branding any other business anywhere else. Now, granted, of course, there are certain geocentric kind of attributes that need to change, that need to align with the local population and all that. But the world is becoming a small place. Globalization means that brands anywhere in the world have to have certain qualities. It's all about the target audience. It's all about how you're telling your brand story. Now, I keep repeating that, but it is fundamental to branding, right? Okay, so Indian brands, I think the best way is, let me show you a few examples of brands and businesses that we have helped in India create a brand identity, a brand presence. And let me just walk you through some of them and discuss different attributes rather than just tell you the theory, because in most of my videos, most of the questions, I simply just talk about the theory. All right, so let's just take a look at a few examples. Okay, so we are going to our website. The first one, okay, this one is called Allegory, and it's an Indian fashion brand. And I chose this example because it closely matches what you might be trying to do. Now, for this particular brand, we actually came up with the brand name, brand strategy, package design, website, and a lot more, right? So let's just take a quick look at it. Now, look at the quality and the elegance of this brand identity. Allegory is about rising. It's about going and breaking through. There's a full strategy behind it. And so rising to luxury, and we've got this Pegasus kind of icon because that's about rising and moving forward, moving up, and all that. Now, as you can see, this identity, even though it's an Indian fashion brand, it just looks international. It's because of the way the identity has been created. Now, here are two sort of secondary brand icons. So you've already seen the primary logo. Here are a couple of secondary brand icons, and they're used, like for example, on this business card at the back, you have the primary logo, and then on the front is the secondary icon. Using secondary icons, using things like that, take your brand to the next level. So don't just stick with one primary logo, have a secondary icon to support it, not in place of it so that there's no confusion, but to support your primary logo. And then you have the official brand pattern. And you can see the pattern here, you can see it here, even on the letterhead. And okay, look at this package design. We're using the secondary icon here, and you can see the pattern being used here. This is an awesome package design with the official pattern, brand pattern, and the icon itself. Again, here you can see the pattern in all its glory. So have a pattern. Having a pattern really takes your brand to the next level, to make it look international, to raise the standard, and all that, right? Okay, so this is, we've also done some kind of photographic direction. Of course, the client got these photo shoots done. They hired a model, and they got all this done. So that is one of the things that I would suggest that you take a look at, which is a full brand identity, a primary logo, and then a secondary icon and official brand patterns and all that. The next example is Levonar. This is a property developer based out of Hyderabad in India. And again, For this, we actually came up with the brand name and the brand identity. And you can see here is the primary logo in terms of the stationery. And you can see again, the identity is really of an international standard, and we're using the patterns, we're using the color palette, we're actually giving that look and feel, and you can see in this website here, it is international standard, right? Okay, let's look at another example. Okay, this is Pula Reddy and Sweets. This is a famous sweet brand in, again, Hyderabad. And again, as you can see, we're using the primary icon and the primary logo independently to create the kind of look and feel. This is another example. These are again builders based out of, I think, Pune in India. And you can see the icon and the logo, the typography just looks stunning. So you might, I mean, typically when someone looks at it, they would not think that this is an Indian brand, but this operates primarily in India, and yet the identity and the website and everything sort of just looks out of, out of India. It looks international. This is a restaurant based out of Hyderabad again in India. It's called Chibo House, and we've created the entire, we've come up with the brand name, the brand identity, and brand patterns and things like that. And you can see here already, these are hand illustrations to support the brand Chibo House. Look at the pattern on this, on the business card, and the packaging, and even the interiors. Everything looks just stunning. This is Linden. This is a food packaging company based out of India, and again, the packaging and the identity and the design, they all look stunning. So as you can see that the brand identity has to really be based on a strategy, right? It has to look at the audience. Now, the Indian audience is quite diverse, right? It's a huge country with, if you're strictly very local, then of course you're looking at the local population, but the brand identity doesn't really have to be local, because these days brands are really breaking through. In India, in China, in places where traditionally branding was not really given that kind of importance. And I myself have seen this happening over my 21, 22 years of working with brands. I've seen this really change, this transformation, and especially in India. So take a hard look at your local audience, but also look at your brand identity from an international perspective. Use things like a secondary brand icon, patterns, and color palettes, and strategically use those to create that international look and feel. Okay, I hope I've answered your question. I hope these examples I've shown you have given you a little bit of idea. Check out our website for more examples and a detailed look of the brand stories and how brand identities are being built. And if you have any other questions, just email me back. All right, see you in the next video.